So there's been rumors going around about Disney possibly going to buy DC Comics. And I'm going to say I think it's a load of bullshit. Now, you guys all know AT&T is selling Warner Brothers and all of its assets because AT&T is a terrible company that shouldn't bought Time Warner for the first place, but hey, they're $1 million in debt, so they think that they can enter the streaming service so they can make all their money back so they can pay off their debt. But they realize it didn't work out, so they're like, you know what, fuck it. Let's just sell it to other companies so we can get off this debt. Which I think it's stupid, but that's for another topic. So one of these companies that AT&T is selling is DC Comics, Warner Bros. Games, and all the other movie assets. And there's been this big rumor that if Discovery, the company that's going to buy Time Warner, depending on if the government approves it or not, is going to sell DC Comics as well. And here's why I think it's stupid about this rumor about Disney buying DC Comics. First off, number one, have you guys completely forgotten that Disney lost $1 billion last year because of the pandemic? They lost so much money, it wasn't even funny. They lost a lot of money because of the global pandemic. And now that 2021 has been a year that everyone is trying to recover from the pandemic, even though we're still in the middle of a pandemic, everyone's getting vaccinated. Everyone's getting their vaccine shots. Less people are not coming to the hospital. You know, things are starting to getting a little better. And Disney is still trying to recover all that money they lost from the pandemic. And they finally reopened opening Disneyland and stuff. So I just didn't think, it just wouldn't make no sense for a business assets for Disney to buy DC Comics. Because people, you need to realize this. Disney owns Marvel. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate comments for this, but Marvel is way bigger than DC right now because how big and how profitable their movies have made for the past few years. And I just didn't think that it wouldn't make no sense for Disney to buy DC Comics so they can just add it to their library or something. And knowing Disney, they don't really need DC Comics because they have Marvel. Marvel is making so much money for them, and I think they have no interest in buying DC Comics. Also, number two, you can see it. If Disney ever buys DC, they're going to be a giant monopoly in the comic book industry. Now, I know there's a lot of people have complained about Disney is this big corporate monopoly in Hollywood. They're taking over Hollywood and all its media glory. And look, when Disney bought 20th Century Fox, they bought it because Bob Iger wanted to add more streaming content for their streaming service. But here's the thing. Bob Iger is no longer with Disney. And even though he's going to leave the company in December, it's all about Bob Chapek. And knowing Bob Chapek, Disney and him are never going to buy DC Comics. And I just don't think, it just doesn't make it doesn't make any sense for Disney to buy DC Comics because they own Marvel. And they just lost billions of dollars and they're still trying to recover. They're still trying to recover from all that money they lost from the pandemic. And whoever is going to buy DC Comics, my theory is probably going to be Amazon, Apple, Netflix, or Universal, aka Comcast. Who knows? But overall, I just don't think Disney is never going to buy DC Comics. And for all you comic book fans saying, well, there could be possibilities that we might have a Marvel and DC crossover or a Marvel versus DC game, it's never going to happen. I don't believe Disney is never going to buy DC Comics. It's never going to happen. I think it just doesn't make sense for Disney to buy it. So, no, I don't want DC to owned by Disney. It's nah. I'm good. I'm good with that shit. So overall, that's just my thoughts. And please, people, don't believe in these rumors. It's never going to happen. So that's just my thoughts. And I'm probably going to make more videos like this since I got a new camera and a new phone. So anyway, until next time, guys. Later.